O ki hoki ake mai tātau. Kua hoki mai nei rā tātau ki ngā mēniti te kotahi haora me te hawhe kia Hawaikirangi. Tēnā hoki ake nau mai haere, ki roto anō ki tēnei rā. Tēnei te rā, te tahi, te rā tuatahi, ki te marama ngahuru, te marama tua ngahuru, me ki, te marama tua ngahuru. Koe nei te rā, hoki ake mai ai, huri ake mai ai, tātou ki te āta whakarungo atu ki te kupu, o roto i te reo kia tahu mā kāka nui matua. Tei atua no ki ngā kōrero i a Hawaikirangi. Hawaikirangi tēnei o ngā pēne kua whakatū atu i roto i te tai hawauru au kati ki Aotearoa. Tei atua no ki Wairarapa ki Tararua. Ki roto anō ki te papa i oea. Ki roto anō hoki ki te whanganui o rotu, te whanganui atara. No reira, nau mai haere, tēnā tātou, kei noi tātou. Taku ari ki atua. Kia whai kupu anō ai ki a koe, kia whai korori anō ai ki a koe, te iehua karaiti, ko koe i anō te iehua. Tau tiaki ana, tau mana ki atu ana i a mātau i roto i ngā mea katoa. Ai tēnei wāpū, i tēnei kokoni, o tēnā o mātau. Ki roto katoa no ki ngā mea ana mātau i roto i te rā. Ngā mea mamahi, i roto i te rā no, kai reira rā no koe, e tau tiaki ana, e tau manaki atu ana i a mātau. Poi haere ana nā, anō i ngā kaupapa, pēnā no i tēnei o ngā kaupapa. He kaupapa nui ke, he kaupapa nui ki ngā whakatipuranga, he kaupapa nui anō ki te puoro ki ingi mangu, he kaupapa nui anō ki te hapū nei. Kia tahu mā kāka nui matua, ki roto anō hoki ki tōu ingoa. Whakamoe miti. Amen. And so, yeah, we're back again, back on to Hawaikirangi. Hawaikirangi, one of the bands, I thought I'd better mention today a little bit more on Hawaikirangi. We're a reggae band. We've been formed in the Wairarapa, Palmerston and Wellington areas in the Western Aukati or Western Division of New Zealand. That's the traditional Western Division. And in the first program of Hawaikirangi, I went through the region that covers the top of the south from Te Taitapu to Tōtaranui on the eastern side, from Te Taitapu in the west, Tōtaranui in the northeast, and then it finishes off in the east, on the east coast there, in Kaikoura. So, in the west from Waipawa all the way to Mōkau, King Country, covers King Country, and all the way down the west coast, hits the top of the south, hits the southern part of Taupo, and then continues on a diagonal from around about Waipawa, and then includes all of the west coast, right back down again, including Waimarino from Pātea Te Hāwera, and Whanganui Manawatu, all the way back down to Porirua, and then of course into Te Whanganui Te Whanganui a Ōrotu, Te Whanganui Atara, which is what we call it in Tahu Mā Kāka Nui Matua. That's the Wellington region, of course. Back into Wairarapa ki Tararua and back up there into Waipawa, just out of Te Waipukurau o Ruakuha. First day we started on time. But we've got plenty of time. We've got a lot of time to get through our program. to get through what the band needs to do. But I thought I'd mention a few things there on Hawaikirangi. And it's the same thing I've done with my talents, my musical talents right through. I haven't gone into the industry and used my talents in the industry that much. I did have a little bit of a go, but decided that I didn't like the industry. And that was earlier on in life, about 18, 19 years of age, and decided I didn't like it at the time. I still sort of don't, but when I'm doing, I've always used my talents to benefit others, to the advantage of others. Like at the moment, I do a lot of fundraising, and any recordings or anything I've ever had anything to do with in studios and stuff like that, Māori songs and English songs, I've usually just been a support vocal or support guitarist or drummer or whatever. And I've been in lots of bands throughout my life, but never really used it in the industry. And so I'm taking my chance here, my opportunity with Hawaikirangi. And well, what has been planned to be a 13-piece band. Now, we were going to have all 6 of us in today, but with everyone with constraints on work constraints, a couple of the young people have school constraints. But those couple of young people that were going to come in today, just as I thought, something else has cropped up and they have to be somewhere else. So I just thought I'd relax, make sure I get myself ready. Nilos was supposed to come in today. I actually don't know what's happened to Nilos today, but he was supposed to be here. Let's hope that he comes in next week or the week after. He may be on holiday, I figure. And any of the others, Calvin and Sam might be in, say around 4 o'clock, sometime after 4, and so they would be pretty keen to come into their first show too. So, but we're going to slowly build. Having 6 of us coming into main practices, it's getting better. And in a couple of weeks' time, of course, we're hoping to have around 10 of us, of which 10 I'm going to push to get into one of the shows, one of the Thursdays at 3:30, to get to come in and feature maybe one. Yeah, we'll do maybe one of our numbers and just talk about reggae music and how much it means to us and how befitting it is to our story. Let me just... I'll just, as I usually do, one of the points of difference with us is we drop the odd Christian song. So, yeah, no difficulty in guessing what our, the spiritual basis that we're carrying in this band, and it's fine. It's fine. For those of you, I've had a couple of people. Oh, why don't you do Rasta? I said, well, I'm the leader of the band. I'm no longer Rasta. I used to be have Rasta. A Rasta faith and stuff like that. I was in with Bobo Shanti, 12 Tribes of Israel, and the Ethiopian Orthodox Church. That led me to a relationship with Jesus, which has currently led me into Christianity. So it's only befitting that I would carry this band through on my strongest foundation at the moment that I carry, and that is Christianity. And being the widest, the strongest and the largest faith in the Western division of our ancestors, the western part of the country that we call the West, which includes Wairarapa up to Waipawa. Of course, the region over past Waipawa is where you step into the Eastern Division. of the country, te taira whiti au kati. But let's not worry about them. We are particularly revolved around the western division of the country of our ancestors. Very special divisions, those. They are prehistory, and they are ones that tahu mā kāka nui matua hapu. Our hapu, we do everything revolved around those divisions because we are also a tribe from the prehistory. We don't only include ourselves within the Great Migration, te hekenga nui, mai I ngā mutu tere I te moana nui ākiwa, from the Pacific, the islands of the Pacific, but also from prior to then. See, so a lot of our people were already here, the te awa and tahu mā kāka nui matua, and the descendants of Te Turate Matua. That's who we are, the descendants of Te Turate Matua, who are descendants of te awa, who are descendants of Moai Hapu. And so a very special vehicle for us, reggae music. And here's one of our reggae songs. This is how different reggae can sound. But we'll talk a little bit about that. And it can just sound just totally gospel-y, and it can just have a drum beat and some sing talk over the top. You know, it doesn't even have to have the ijek that we've been looking at, and we've been answering the questions. How can I better understand this music? How can I better understand reggae music? And also, how do I make reggae music? Well, there's a few more clues there. You can just make a gospel song, give it reggae lyrics, do it in a reggae fashion, use just drums. You could do anything like that and make sure it misses on the third. You know, that's reggae. That's reggae. And I can even do a song like this that sounds like this, like a ballad. Very ballady, and make it a reggae song. But the song I'm going to do today for our himene, Te Hua Atua Ariki, E Tahua Rako Koe, Herongo Maurongo Marire, Sorry, my voice is a little bit tired today. Funny, I had a practice before. Funny how you can get on air and then next minute everything changes. So I've had a little bit of a warm-up. Te Yehua Atua Ariki, Herongo Maurongo Marire, Etnawari. Yeah, I'm just trying to keep it a little bit quiet so I don't go too loud, and that's why I'm missing that note just slightly. There's a little bit of a note in there that I'm missing. I could half it, but I don't really want to because I want you to get the full notes of the song. I'll have another go at it at the end of the show. Very gospel-y, this number. Because my voice is a little bit tired, I'm bound to push my voice out, which will make me go quite loud, and I don't want to be too loud. So that's what's preventing me from getting that note. I'll just do it like that. I broke my voice there, but that'll do. One more time. We also do that song in Hawaikirangi. We do it Granation style. That's with guitar and the African drums. Granation. So it goes. Like that, but I just done it our gospel style. But I don't want to hit that note and go too loud, or else I'm going to be heard right throughout the building. And there's like other officers in the building. So yeah, welcome back to Hawaikirangi. And that was a nice little welcome back with even a Christian song thrown in there. Yeah, and that's the point of difference with us. So in terms of a spiritual basis for our reggae band, which is really important to some people, to most of the reggae world it is. The heavyweights, they played with Rasta as their spiritual basis. Ours for Hawaikirangi is going to be with a Christian spiritual basis, or in other words, now and again we're going to drop the odd Christian song. We're not a Christian band. There's a big difference. Because we are going to play songs into the industry that are going to tell the story of Hawaikirangi and tell the story of the Western Division, in particular the lands where Tahumā Kākanui Matua come from. And those are the lands that I named there in the Western Division. And so there's a huge story to tell everybody. And the other thing too that we're doing with Hawaikirangi is training some of the young people, the next generation. And we're going to take them through the industry, teach them what we know, and then one day let the band go and let the young people take over. Now, Hawaikirangi is not Reggae 101 because lots of people are tuning in. They want to learn a lot more about reggae music, and that you'll learn, but we're only giving some tips here and there. We've got a bit of a handle on this music, and probably a lot better handle than most. I've played a lot of reggae, 46 years worth, and I've played it in front of audiences everywhere, and those audiences just absolutely love the way I play this music. I'm a little bit quicker than most. I can play the music slow, but I usually stick around about middle range between slow and allegro, reggae allegro. Allegro is like your fast pace. J, 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 j. I'm usually ijik, 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 somewhere around there. And then there's the slow one. Ijik, 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 like that. So, yeah, reggae music, it's a big thing for us. It's a major vehicle for us. And we don't need to worry about, it's not wrong for us to have a spiritual basis in Christianity or to drop the old Christian song and just to show that we're not Rasta. That's not what we're doing that for. What we're doing is just doing that so that we can show we do have a spiritual basis, just like the heavyweights of the world. But it doesn't happen to be Rasta, and it doesn't need to be. And in fact, you can survive without having a true spiritual basis in your reggae band. We're just pointing that out because the heavyweights, the biggest leaders in the music in the world, they all have that Rasta roots, flavour and basis to their reggae music, which brings them right on point. And I'll tell you what, it doesn't matter for us because with Tahumākaka Nui Matua, of course, we have roots that genealogically link us all the way back to Africa, to Akragana and to Egypt and, of course, Abyssinia, Ethiopia. And, we've got links all over that area genealogically and also back into with origins of from the African Nubian Hebrew, which is where the Rasta faith comes from. See? So it doesn't matter. Not really. And that's why, that sort of sums up for us why reggae music is the right vehicle to tell the story for Tahumākaka Nui Matua of the West. We are the division also of the most senior of the Tahumākaka Nui Matua, and we are also the division of the Ariki Matua, of the Ariki Mataura of Tahumākaka Nui Matua. So we've got everything here. We are broadcasting from the right place, and we're introducing the band from the right place. And we are enjoying it thoroughly. But I thought I would carry on my own answering those questions. How can I make reggae music? Well, there's a few tips there, a few more tips. What is reggae, and added to what is reggae, we've got how do I make reggae, and specifically, and how can I find out a little bit more to help me understand a bit more about reggae music. Well, there's lots there. Hopefully that helps you out there, because a lot of our bands in New Zealand in particular, we're not talking about every reggae band out there, we're just talking about New Zealand bands in particular, where some of the people in this band are some of the people that have been unhappy with reggae music for the last 30 years around about and have constantly moaned. Me probably more than anybody, being one of the people who grew up, 46 years in reggae, is obvious that I grew up playing this music. It's quite a slow gospel-y music in its beginnings, but it developed from there into a semi-quick to, of course, reggae allegro. Reggae allegro is like the jig, 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 jig. It's really quite quick, so it makes you jig. Which is the quickest skanking that you can do. The skank is it's like a jump. It's not just a down motion; it's a down and a jumping motion. See, so that's the skank. That's the proper thing for a skank, and it's a very serious thing. We're talking about very serious things, cultural things that I guess, and I have a lot of our African brothers and sisters, direct of Africa, who I have them to thank for a lot of that sort of information and a lot of that sort of kōrero and heritage and ancient heritage, because they keep those sort of things. I wanted to make mention of those sort of things in the show, because I know how much that the knowledge of all those sorts of things would help our people. It's a little bit obvious they've been struggling for years now of late to play this music. It can appear, once you get into the music and you struggle with it, it can appear that the music is somewhat elusive. It looks easy, seems easy when you start playing it, but to play it properly, it takes a long time. Yeah, it takes a long time. You've got a culture in the music. You've got to find your roots, find your niche. You've got to do all sorts of things. Now, you'll notice I'm a little bit hesitant in the studio. Why is that? Well, yeah, a couple of people asked me, why is that? I said, look, when you get into a studio, you've got the massivest pickups. You're playing with all sorts of pickups, which can pick up any little thing. Now, and when if I'm playing a triad or a triple, just those two notes there in the triad that I played took a whole lot of different energies and a whole lot of different movements that you didn't see or hear. Just an A7 there. And they took a whole lot of different sequences and movements and sounds. And so to play all of those perfectly, I would need to have at least three people. I just did it there on my own and made it look easy. And it does. It looks easy when you play it on your own. But playing it, let's say, outdoors, in an outdoor gig, acoustically. No, not acoustically. That'd be too easy. Let's just talk about acoustically, because that would make it less risky. Because a lot of the movements in there, a lot of the technical stuff you don't need to worry about, because your audience is not going to hear that. See? There's a lot of little movements there. All those notes there. There's all those notes there. There's the three movements. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and the sounds that they make. There's 1, 2, 3. There's the change of note. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And yeah, that took a number of technical movements to be able to make properly. But had I three people doing that, it would be much easier for me. It's risky business playing a song like with a double, with a split. Like I remember the first song I was going to play on my own, Stir It Up. Now, when I play reggae songs, sometimes I increase the drop in the song. Like Bob would play it like this with a split. He'd play it. Like something like that. I would increase, slightly change the rhythm, the tempo, and increase the drop in it. It depends on the feel. I will play every song my way. It's funny, some people, they like it so much they think it's Bob's way. When I play a Bob song, a Bob Marley song, they freak out and go, wow, that's, I said, no, that's my way. That's my way. They just don't listen properly. Sometimes people don't listen hard enough to really pick up things. They think I've captured Bob's way. That's not true. That's not what I'm trying to do. I'm using my own way to express and interpret the song. And so technically, when you get into a studio, the music becomes really, really difficult to play. See? Because, I mean, just like when I did that drumming there, there's a lot of different noises happening in there that either you're hearing or not, but that can ruin a recording. When you're in a recording, when something's recording and you're like in a studio, you've got these amazing pickups that can pick up everything. I mean, I could go out of place and that's it, the whole recording stuffed. So, yeah, that's why I'm a little bit hesitant. I'm never hesitant to play reggae, but as soon as you get into the studio or you're on stage and you're all mic'd up and everything's got these amazing pickups on them, you have to be very, very careful. And reggae music is one of the riskiest musics to play on your own. See, that's why I'm like that in the studio. Now, the other thing is that why reggae music is risky business. If we go back to the second and first shows, and I just spoke about Bob's quote, he said, "It carry, I feel." Reggae music does carry, I feel, and that's one of the important things to remember there, especially in the studio. And that's why reggae musicians, we don't mind recording studios and producers producing with the rudiments of theory. They keep it solid, they keep it slow. Only in the studio is fine with us. Hawaikirangi doesn't mind that with us. As soon as we get on stage or live, we're amazingly either quick or middle range or even slow. But the trick to reggae music is not how fast you play it or how slow you play it. It's, how you carry that I feel. It's how you put it together. And if you put it through correctly, it doesn't matter if you're slow. If you're slow, that slow reggae will still be exciting to the listener, like Bob was. Bob was like that. He played really, really slow. See, and this is why I'm a little bit critical of Fat Freddy, because Fat Freddy's drop is not amazing, while it's slow. It's not the most amazing reggae. So he hasn't actually put it together. He doesn't really understand the music, and he hasn't got all the moves and the rhythms because he can't do it. So I know reggae anywhere. And when it's being done properly, I know the heavyweights, whenever they play the music, I know that music, and I know that they're always playing it right. So I've mentioned a lot of things there. But one of the amazing things, let me counter that with one of the amazing things about reggae music from Fat Freddy's drop is that Fat Freddy is one of the tightest, cleanest, sharpest reggae bands in the industry. And just amazingly tight with what they play. Be it a scarish rhythm or be it a purish rhythm or whichever one that they choose to play. They're very limited because they don't use them all. They haven't even used the core rhythms yet. Because they haven't, you're left unsure as to, as a reggae person, you're left unsure as to whether they've actually got them all. So I would doubt that they have. I would doubt that. Otherwise, Fat Freddy would be using them. That's far down the track in their career. But one of the most amazing things about Fat Freddy's drop, I must put them up at this stage, being such a great world, they're a world-class band now. Amazing composers. They're probably the best reggae composers in the country at the moment, but they haven't got the best song. After this waiata, let's see if you can tell me who has the best song, reggae song in the country, and what that song is. Who can tell me? Kia ora mai tātou, kai te whā mēniti, mai I te whā o ngā haora I tēnei rā te tuatahi. Kia marama tuangahuru. Kai te rangona te tātou, kia Hawaikirangi. Kia ora mai tātou. rā e tātai mā kai te waru meniti mai I te whā, ko te tūmanako, hara mai ai a Calvin mā, a hāmuera, ki te hui mai me tātou kuau I roto I Hawaikirangi. Kai te rangonāti tātou I ngā kōrero I a Hawaikirangi. Hawaikirangi o roto tahumāka ka nui matua. I roto I te hapu nei, takoto ai o na wenua, ki roto I te tai hauauru aukati, I ngā aukati te motu. Tēnei o ngā aukati kia mātau he wā kāinga, kia mātau he wā Hawaiki, kia mātau he wā, he wāhi wenua Hawaikirangi. I roto I o mātau ngākau, I roto anō I o mātau na whakaaro nui, whatu manawa. Tihe Māori ora, tihe Māori ora. Ko ia tērā no hoki o ngā waiata, rānea Āpirahama, of the Āpirahama brothers, Ruia and Rānea, with his waiata, tihe Māori ora. So kia ora tātou. And we are just mentioning some of these very important aspects of the music along the way to telling our story. And those aspects, such as what I have just mentioned there. You've got to be a good composer to play good reggae. So maybe a lot of the bands that have only just come into the industry over, say, the last 20 years or so, 20 or 30 years, you might need to brush up on your composition skills because that's one of the worst areas. The second worst area is actually how you put the music together. How you put the music together. It's got to carry, I feel. So in other words, every touch, every note, every movement, every technical part of the music needs to be solid reggae. If it isn't, or even if you haven't even got it there, just having the slowness isn't good enough. You've got to play it properly. And that's one of the things I'd say to Fat Freddy. Just being tight and having that slowness is not good enough. You know, you've got to really put it together. How do I do it? I do it through damping. Just got my bass guitar at the moment. The other guitar I play on is one of my old guitars. Actually, I use that old guitar a lot for fundraising. I used to have one I used to use for fundraising. It's about 19 years old, this particular guitar. I've made 2.5 and a bit more $1 million with this guitar, but I parked it up. I now don't play on that one, so I play on my other old one. And I use old guitars because I'm always doing my drumming on them. That's why I use my old guitars, and I preserve their sound. It's their tone and their particular sound that I like. The rugged rhythms of reggae were maintained through old, really well preserved musical instruments, but with very good voice work. Like in Hawaikirangi, we're more focused on the voice, the gospel-y, gospel soul, bluesy, and reggae voice. We focus a lot on that. So a lot of the time we don't even use our instruments, and we might have our percussionists going hard on the drums, while we're singing along and getting all our song structures and voice chops all together, and making sure we've got solid plans in there. So we do a lot of that before we even get on the instruments. So instruments don't even get touched, they get tuned up and left there. Except for percussionists are always banging away. And now and again when we need a note, we'll have just an acoustic guitar. So that's what we do. And that might help a lot of our bands, some of our kōrero. We're not Reggae 101, no. No, definitely kāhore rāpea. We definitely not Reggae 101. But coming into the industry, I mean, it's been a long time we've been listening to bands out of the industry, New Zealand bands, and they're just not doing it right. Yeah, they're just not doing it right. That reggae needs to be a lot more solid. You know, because every little movement matters. In reggae music, another thing, if you, let's say I'm the bassy, well, the bassy is useless without someone on the guitar. With a rhythm like I showed you last week, that triple split or triad, I think some musicians call that a triad, and you can have it on the same note, just dancing between three different strikes. And usually the best way to play that is with a couple of guitarists or a keyboard and a guitarist, a keyboardist and a guitarist. And of course you've got the G, 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 and you've got eject, eject, eject playing over the top, or what most musicians would say is playing under it. I've got a habit of saying things the way I do. I'm still not the greatest at English. I never have been, but just bear with me. Those of you who have been in the industry and got confused, who are really theory, and those are the things about theory that are helpful for reggae. And that's why it's okay for theory musicians who record music to use the rudiments and slow reggae down in the studio, because it ensures that we put the music together properly. It ensures also that every technical part is played properly. You know, there's no bang on the guitar and then there's a ringing sound going on in the background, you know, with a couple of bangs. See, like that. See, can you hear that? You hear all that ringing sound? You know, there's none of that going on, because that can easily happen when you're playing reggae. It's such a fairly touchy music. And how did I point out how I play it? Is through damping. I damp it out on the guitar. It can be argued that all you really need to know in reggae is how to miss on the third. See? It can be argued that. And the voice work, it can be argued that all you've got to be able to do is manipulate and regulate your voice work and structure it around that third, around that drop. See, there's a moment where it drops. The music drops. And that is the characteristic of soca music. And it's also the characteristic that was taken into to formulate reggae music. I'm just playing that in D. Is it in this life? What sweet life, we're coming in from the cold. One instrument without the other in reggae music is an absolute waste of time. If every person playing their instrument in the music has to know every touch and feel in a song to the T, and they have to have practiced that until they can play it stand. Basically, Neelos and I, we laughed in the first show when we talked about spinning around on your head and playing the music behind your back, because that's basically how good you got to be to play good reggae. You've got to be able to do that. Just jump straight on, and you know, and you tend to, it's a bit like a second nature thing, or, you know, like the back of the hand, you know, if you know every little part of the back of your hand, then that's how good you've got to be on your instrument or in your voice part in a particular reggae song. And when I damp it out and a cappella it out, like even a song like Could You Be Love, one of the most touchy-feely, funky reggae songs in history, could you be loved? Yeah, and it has to be at studio level. See, at studio level, if you can play reggae that well, then I mean, all songs take a lot of takes in a studio, but for reggae, it can take you. You can cut it down, one song down to maybe a month or so, 4 to 6 weeks, or maybe even 2 to 3 weeks to get it right. Because technically, reggae is one of the hardest music genres to play. Okay, technically it is. And that's why I'm a little hesitant to play it on my own. And people hear me playing it on my own just about all the time. But that's because I'm playing it on my own in places where it doesn't matter. And plus I'm playing it acoustically. But even when I'm playing it electronically out there, you know, with backing tracks and stuff like that, I still do it my way. And so people freak out at how well I can play it. It's only because I've got everything geared up to me, not to the rudiments of theory or to studio level work with the music. Yeah, so take my advice, because when Hawaikirangi starts to release some singles, we're hoping to have a couple of singles out in the new year. We wouldn't be ready to have one out this year. We'll be doing gigs though. We'll be playing gigs, and probably only about maybe about four to six of us will play in our first gigs. We won't take in the whole band because we won't need it. And once we use the whole band, will be used for major gigs. You know, from gigs in a university to gigs, you know, to a major crowd, 12,000 to 22,000. When we hit Wellington, hopefully from a lot of Wellington gigs that we start to play, they'll build up to 20 to 50,000 people. And we can get to those points. Hopefully COVID is kind to us as a band and allows us to do all of that. Now, hopefully I've covered everything there. One of the songs I wanted to play for us today, we'll see how we go. You know, the music being so risky in the studio, technically very difficult to play on your own. Yeah, and that's what I feel is making reggae music, playing reggae music, and playing it with your other band members, doing your part properly and them doing their part properly, and every one of you doing your part to the 110%. To make reggae music. Hopefully I've given you enough there to help you understand the music better. Yeah. Yeah, we're coming in. Yeah, it's you. Yes, it's you. Said it's you I'm talking to. Well, you. The biggest man you ever did. Yeah, and there's a lot of different reggae songs I can play. They're just the ones that are coming to mind. Yeah, I was thinking of doing reggae rebel music. Let's see how we go. Because that sort of feel, if you can think of that, a protest, rebel, rough rhythm, rugged, ready rhythm like reggae. And that's what people love about the slowness in reggae. It has a way of culturing the most massive, rugged texture in the reggae drop, in the reggae soul that is possible. But it's not the only way. That's the other thing about the slowness in reggae. Once you're playing it properly, once you're doing ichik, and when you run through a song, you find some parts like in that song, the biggest man you ever did see. A major line, your punch lines. Once it was a baby in his life, in this oh sweet life, we're coming in from the cold. And there's your chorus line up there. Those notes and sounds and bass lines and etc. can create the most unbelievable feel in reggae music. And to try and help you along to understanding the I feel and what it needs to create, I guess that is what it is. That is what it is, one of the things and what it is. Faster reggae, like middle range between the slow reggae and reggae allegro, which is G, which is jig, you know. People, when they dance to that music, they jig. I've even seen people crumping and doing all sorts of things. Anyone heard the song Jerusalema? You have to be walking around with your eyes and ears closed. If you haven't heard that, that is in particular a reggae song. If you listen to the lyrics and everything, and you listen to the singing in that song, it's called sing talk. That sort of singing. A couple of famous people for sing talk is Burning Spear, whose song Happy Day is a good example of a fast reggae song. Imagine singing a song about a happy day really slow, like, you know, couldn't have been much of a happy day if it's like that, eh? So if you ever get the chance, listen to that song by Burning Spear, Happy Day. Beep, 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 beep. Whoa, happy days. And he's one of the most widest known, well-known sing-talkers of reggae in the world. That's Burning Spear. One of the heavyweights, one of the super heavyweights of reggae music culture, other ones. And they're like jig, 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 jig. When will this payday be? Tell me now, jig, jig. What song did I mention the other week of theirs? International Herb. Yeah, International Herb. I took a spliff this morning from the International Herb. Yeah, the song about the herb. And yeah, amazing, just amazing. Some of the music you can create once you've got the reggae down. See? So it doesn't matter how slow you play it. Well, it does, depending on what you want to do with it. If you want to create that massive texture of rugged, rough, raw, capture of the soul of a song, and you want it to come out at a certain point in time, then use the slow. If you want to sustain that soul, if you want to make it sweeter and feel sweeter and sound sweeter and last longer, then I would suggest you do the song quicker. But there's a certain point in time, there's a certain audience that you'd use a certain way for. But use the whole music, use the whole music. Don't stick to just one way. Otherwise it shortens the view of the music, it narrows it a bit. And still the best song in the country, the best Māori song, kaupapa Māori song, and in fact, still the number one reggae song in Aotearoa, New Zealand is this one. Kai te rāngona te tonu tātou I ngā kōrero I a Hawaikirangi. I Hawaikirangi tēnei o ngā pēne ki a tātou I roto te tai hauauru aukati. Kai te rāngona te hoki tātou I te reo kupu, te reo kōrero, a Kaea Matiaha, te aro hatai, te rangi pū a tāta, i te toru ngā huru, mā toru meniti, mai i te whāo ngā hāra. Kāre noa hāmuera mā a Kelvin mā, te āhua nei. Kāre kau te hara mai, kai te mōhio a hai, kua mutu i nā iana, i te wā mahi, te mahi atu, i te mea atu i ngā mea katoa, mea tia nei rā iwa. Ki te wā mahi kia rā iwa, ki te wā mea kia rā iwa. Ki te wā mea tia, i roto tahu mākahaka nui matua, te mea e ki ana e tātou, te nui o tātou, te wā mahi, te wā mahi. Nā, reggae is very important for our message, a message of struggle. We have a tangi too. We have a tangi, and we said no better way than to express it in this way, in the way of that reggae. Reggae is that music. What did we say? Reggae is a music that carries that, the cry of the oppressed, the rebellion, the political statement, stipulation of oppressed peoples is best carried in this music. This vehicle, reggae music, is one of the best ways of carrying that music. A lot of people have moved on to, reggae music is a rap music as well. So rap was already around when reggae was around already. And then they went and did lots of different things with rap music. They took reggae rap music a lot further. And, there's some wonderful things we can do with music. And I just want to show a lot of the things that we're going to be doing with reggae music to tell our story, to talk about our struggles, the poverty. A lot of these things are still around, and they've gotten a lot worse. The poverty, the gangs, all that sort of things, the struggle, the racism, all the pressures that the specifically the Crown organisation and authoritarian dictatorship over our lands has always meant that we were always at the mercy of the Crown. Right through my childhood, I know all those cries. I have felt them. I've even cried a lot of them. So many different troubles come your way as a result of, especially being an indigenous culture. It would have been really choice if the Crown left us to our own devices. Then our people wouldn't be so oppressed and so downtrodden. But this music tends to carry that message so well. And of course, we're genealogically and culturally tied to the beginnings of this music. Where it comes through from the line of King David, King Solomon, into, who are also part of the African Nubian Hebrew, from whence comes the expressed beliefs of Rastafari, and all of those things that are carried within the Rasta faith. And of course, reggae music. We are culturally very, very similar. In culture, the Tahu Mākaka Nui Matua are genealogically tied with all those peoples and all those nations. So that's why we've chosen reggae music to carry Hawaikirangi's message. And of course, we'll be doing everything that we possibly can do with the music to express our messages of sorrow, sadness. It's good that we're going to have some of celebration. I've been a part of a lot of celebrations in our regions, and luckily celebrations have been a lot more of late. Not so much with COVID being around, but a lot more of late. And the struggles, especially for our hapu, that's what we're talking about, and all the uri and uri hapu that come from us. And. You know, different tribes just have their own different way. You know, we're all a unique part of the country and we all have our unique story to tell. This is Tahumākākā Nui Matsua's story, and Hawaikirangi is about to tell that. And also do it in the reo. Let me mention that. That's a part of Hawaikirangi that's very, very unique and has a point of difference. Reo tūturu, tau kōhatu, and reo that is native to this land, to the Western Division, telling the story, including the reo of Wairarapa, which is the tūturu reo, or the traditional reo of Kahungunu. Kahungunu doesn't have its own one. If it did, then we would know it, because Kahungunu and Wairarapa, who are the people of Tamatea Rikinui, they're all descendants of Tahumākākā Nui Matsua. I think at the moment Kahungunu's trying to some of them they just got this. I don't know what it is. There's this arrogance about them that whenever they learn new information from us, they take it away, and then they decide not to listen to us. They'll go elsewhere. So they're trying to be awa at the moment, and that's impossible because they're from Rarotonga, and awa are also Tahitian. They're just junior to us. They're junior branches off Moai Hapu. We're the senior branch right from the centre, right from central Moai Hapu, which is where our reo comes from. Our reo and Te Awa's reo comes from there, and also because it has the same makeup. You can tell where the reo of Wairarapa and therefore the reo of Kahungunu comes from, and that is from the branch off. From there, from the central and most senior lines, because of the particular concepts in that reo. Like awa tends to drop the G all the time. Wairarapa drops the G now and again. See? And also you can tell the concepts of Wairarapa, which is an Eastern reo. It's not a northern reo or an awa reo, it is an eastern reo. And it is particularly eastern in its makeup because it is Rarotongan and because it is Ngā Rauru. Now, Ngā Rauru are a part of the Te Atiawa Nui no Rungaterangi, who are awa. See? So they're awa, and they're also closely related to the Koroatiawa. Who I believe wasn't a hapu super tribal entity, but that's a whole different kaupapa. But if you drop the G, it's likely that you're a junior branch of a main branch, and that's the same in the Moai reo, Moai hapu. They do the same thing. They drop the G, but you know it's not the main reo, and our reo in particular epitomises that Moai hapu central most senior reo, and we're a branch off there. We're one, two. We're 1, 2, 3 branches off of Moai Central, and we're most direct of Te Awa, which is an ancestry from Moai. Moai is where Te Awa comes from, in particular because they are Raiatea Hawaii. See? They come from Raiatea of Tahiti and from Hawaii, which is where we get our Raiatea roots and Hawaiian roots. And so Wairarapa in particular, and the Kahungunu, of course, their reo, the hapu super tribe of Tamatea Rikinui, they drop the G occasionally. It's not all the time. They're like us, how our dialect, we miss a consonant at certain times. See? And we make certain sounds. Our sounds are usually air sounds. We have this fascination with air. Like hair becomes air. And the sound we usually drop is a h, h. In Wairarapa, the sound that they drop is the G. But they drop it in the ngā sounds. See? Ngā. And the other one, how you can tell the link from Hawaii through us. The link from Hawaii through us is the ka sound. The ka can also become ngā. See? So, if I was to say so, I'll say something in our language. I'll do the time. E tatana ki te haiwha, ki te wha karaka te wā. E tatana ki te haiwha ki te wha karaka, ki te rima karaka te wā. Ki te rima o ngā haora te wā. Kai te pai? I said e instead of he. See? I'll say something in Wairarapa now. Nā whakamoe miti, nā whakawhetai, nā tiku atu e au kia koe taku ariki atua. Taku ariki atua e tautiaki ana mai, e taumanaki ana mai a mātau i ngā wā katoa. Ngā whakamoe miti kia koe, e taku ariki e te iehua. Amen. See now, that was in Wairarapa dialect, which stays in the a. A and the au. A and the au. They have no o language as we do in awa. And it's the same in Tahumākāka Nui Matua. We in particular use the au sounds in our language for various kaupapa, for various uses, for various advantages, including a universal type communication tool as an instrument for universal language, and the o for certain for certain usage as well. And the o is usually a tribal or a pakeke ki pakeke, or a confidential, a kōrero muna, or a kōrero motuhake, a kōrero nunuike. And that's the only time we use that. And it's similar to, they call it Western dialect. Well, Kahunu hasn't got that. Wairarapa doesn't have that either. See, so, and that's those are in particular concepts that if you have a good look at the Tahumākāka Nui Matua reo, there are reo, all of the reo of all the super tribes that descend from Tahumākāka Nui Matua are part of the Tahumākāka Nui Matua reo. And there's reo that, whether in particular the K is used or dropped, or, all sorts of things happen in our reo. And they're all tahu, because a part of everybody's reo is always tahu central. Tahu central, which is that reo I just used, the reo hapu. Yeah, interesting stuff, eh? Interesting stuff. Let's go to another song break from Rania, Rangiatea or Raiatea, but his one. In his song, he's called it Rangiatea. Tēnā tātou katoa. Kahuri.
Cool.
Tēnā rawa rā tātai, kua mutu I konei, ngā kōrero I a Hawaikirangi, kua iwa, meiniti ki te rima. Kia o tiau I konei, I te ritenga inoi, ki tō tātou me kua hau, ariki atua, te ie huakaraiti, kia whakamue mititia koe kukue I anō tēnei e ārahi ana. Kua ko tāhaku, ko tahi roto I nei wā, kai te pai, hei a tōna wā, I roto I ngā wā, roko anga atu ko koe, roko anga atu anō, kua hau, a mātau o roto I te hapu kia tahu mā kākanu matua. Roko hanga no atu ko I tahi o mātau, kua hara mai, I tahi wā hoki, hara mai tahi ai mātau. I roto I tō whakaarahi, I roto I tō tiaki, e taku ari ki atu a whakamoe miti ki roto ki tō ingoa. Āmene.